Hello, everybody! Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for your patience while we got this all switched over. We are live and should be good to go.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you for being here. Very excited. Point Conceivable Listener Series finale, January of the Lich King. Couldn't be happier to be here. Thank you for waiting, for your patience. Servers being down, not beautiful for what we're trying to do, but we have two competitors ready to duke it out for the championship.
That's
Don,
right.
what do you think about the lineups here? I think you have them.
Yeah. Let's see here. We have our blue player here, gonna be Potato with Priest, Mage, and Death Knight. Pretty low curve. So looks like some pretty aggressive decks there.
Yeah, he wants to get in there. He wants to get these matches complete. He doesn't want to give WorldEight a chance to even get on the board. The Unholy Priest has been a very popular deck on the meta nowadays. He looks like he's playing a more aggressive list. This deck is not refined yet. There are many different versions of it. He's playing one that really just attacks. There's no Naj and Hexen. There's no it's pretty easy. Does he have Astalar in here? He doesn't have Astalar in here either, so that's pretty interesting. That's usually a secondary condition. What he wants to do is he wants to get down some 2-mana 5/5s and silence those suckers, clear the board, and just go face. You're going to see him be extremely aggressive with that. Looks the same with the Mage. He's playing that really aggressive aggro Mage. That's been around for a little while. There's not much different there. Playmaster Okami, though, is a very interesting include there. And it's also got Aegwynn the Guardian. And then it looks like he's playing the aggro version of the Frost Death Knight, which we have obviously seen, which has been nerfed a little bit with the movement of Construct Quarter from 3 to 4. But it's still a very solid deck. Got that Might of Manethol in there, which has been a very fairly recent tech include that a lot of people have been using to just kind of get a little extra 8 damage and a little bit of tempo with freezing the minions there. Well, what do you think about these lineups, Don?
Yeah, they're pretty interesting. And here's WorldEight's lineup as well. Mage, Warlock, Rogue. Yeah, they're pretty interesting. I like that they only brought one class that's the same. And they kind of have slightly different approaches here to kind of what they're doing. We do have them just running like a practice game right now. So if anybody is hearing that, it's just the like a practice game as we get going. I'm very partial myself to this Warlock deck. I'm very fond of this Warlock deck, so I kind of want to see how that does.
Yeah, if you've been watching Lorenda lately, or in general, he's played a lot of this deck. This is the Mind Lock.
Although
is there a bomb in the bin?
It's banned though, unfortunately. This is a free ban one. I just looked. Yeah, so WorldEight, the Warlock banned, and Potato's Mage is banned.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we no mirrors tonight.
Yeah, no mirrors, but you know that's okay. I was a little sad. I wanted to see the the actual Warlock deck be played, but we'll get there at some point in the future. Just not this series, unfortunately. So, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about these lineups? And I kind of want your opinion as well. It's interesting because this is 3 decks and then ban one, and not a 4 decks ban one like we see in a lot of kind of the more higher level competitions. So do you think that influenced these players at all?
Absolutely. The entire concept of the Coin Conceit Listener Series match is, or the league, I guess we can't call it a league, or can we now? I forget. The rules keep changing, but it's more of a taste of competitive play. It's not meant to be a full thing. Most people get in. You get a couple matches in. It does take a lot of time. So it's a lot of fun. It gives you that flavor of what it is to be competitive, and And yeah, so it's nice and quick. You get in, you get out, and especially playing some aggro matchups, it's going to be interesting. Now, it doesn't give you a lot of time to recover. You lose that first game, you are on your back heel, and you have to win out right there. So it does put a little bit more pressure on that you don't have that time. So I like the format. How are our competitors looking? Are we almost ready to go, or?
Yeah, should be just about ready. If you would be so kind as just to give them the signal that they
Sure,
are
absolutely.
okay to switch over.
So are they in a practice match now, or?
Yeah, they're still in their practice match here.
Practice. And they're good to start up their first match?
Yep, they can go for it.
All right, let's get this on. Potato versus WorldEight. If you have someone you want to support, let's see it in the chat. Let's go.
All right, and they should be queuing up their game here. So we will see again that the Warlock and one of the mages are banned. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what they queue up. And yeah, they have to get a win with both of these decks that aren't banned, right? So they got to play them both at some point anyways and get a win there.
I think the Warlock was the right ban. It's I know people don't like saying the solitaire meta, but it is a very solitaire type matchup where you can play perfectly, and if they have the ability to get their combo off, it really doesn't matter what you do. So I like that ban. So it looks like we have Mage versus Demon Hunter on this one. I'm sorry, Death Knight. Death Knight. I apologize.
Yeah, Death Knight. Yep. So that is just a reminder here. We have Potato on the Death Knight. I flipped the cams, I think.
Oh no!
Potato on the Death Knight. I'll get that fixed. And WorldEight on the Mage.
Yeah, potatoes on the Mage. No, potatoes on the Mage. WorldEight's on the Death Knight. Yeah. You have those, right?
Yep.
No, you are 5x5.
The Potato's on the Death Knights, right? No.
No, potatoes on the Mage.
You know what I did?
Potato cat's on.
No, I have everything set up right, but when I did my, I set up my deck list incorrectly.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Backwards. Okay.
So Potato just played out. They're playing very quickly, so we're gonna have to try to keep up. Potato just played the Frostweave Dungeoneer, which is a great card to, especially in this deck. It's going to get you some tempo. It's going to get you those freezy guys on the board, and it gets you a spell. WorldEight just going to clear Freeze's face, but he gets rid of those pesky 1/1 freeze minions because those can be very difficult as we go.
Yeah, also very interesting choice there as well to go ahead and just whack into that Frosted Elemental to freeze face, like you said, when there's still 2 more weapons in hand. But also at the same time, next turn is going to be turn 4, the 4 mana turn. And that looks like a pretty solid construct quarter rather than another weapon. So definitely makes a lot of sense for WorldEight there as the Death Knight to just try to clear that up as quickly as possible because of the next turn or 2 that he likely has set up there. And on the other side for Potato Cat, also kind of recognizing that that is a very high likelihood of something happening with a construct quarter at 4 mana now. So this setup of removing that kind of bonus minion from WorldEight's board, if WorldEight wants to go for the construct quarter, now loses the 3/3 instead of gaining a 3/3 in addition to the rush minion.
Right. And I kind of suspect Potatoes right here is going to run one of his minions into the construct, maybe the other one into the face, and then Deathborn, and just get some tempo, get some. Although he does have an infused and frozen touch, so he might want to spend that as well, get that cast and re-infuse it as well. So that's what he's choosing to do. you want to get you want to get the most value out of those where you can, because every time you kill 3 minions, you get another free spell. So the more it sits in your hand, the less opportunity you have to get that extra damage, and that's what he's doing. He's casting the Frozen Touch at the face, freezing the minion, and just pushing all his damage face. Seems smart.
Yeah. And I love this setup of Potato here on the bottom as well, setting up these skeletons before a possible Deathborn. They are going to get cleared instead by WorldEight's minion, the Frigidaire, instead, but it also sets up for the Frozen Touch now that those did die. So there's a little bit of potential here for Potato Cat to kind of pick another line of play instead of just the Deathborn. Right now, really no Deathborn value going on, so probably not the best thing to do here for pretty much the entire turn, mana-wise.
Yeah, Potato wants to get that Egwin down, but
yeah,
he might have to wait another turn. The Deathborn doesn't do anything here. He's gonna see what's in the box right here. Pyroblast in his back pocket might not be that bad. He's going for the Wildfire. He's going for the value play. I respect it, even if I'd like to see the Pyroblast. He's gonna freeze the Frigidaire.
No, I like it too. I think there's just a lot of potential there to kind of fit more hero powers in over the next several turns, especially since there's not very many cards in hand at this point as well, right? So it does seem like Potato is kind of setting up that, just weaving in that additional hero power. But on the other side now, we just see WorldEight also selected that Wildfire. It's not going to be any benefit for the Death Knight hero power, but since that Wildfire was played, it was something that WorldEight could select from that Discover and get a copy of. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes there could be the argument for picking something that you know is not the correct choice, just to get it out of your hand, but...
I agree 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, why would you put... He has no ability to transform his hero power, so why would you want a card in your hand that would pretty much just clutter up your hand and potentially give you a reason to overdraw? Not that he's in danger of it now, but it's still early in the game.
Wow, and
so he
Tito, there's 2 construct quarters on the board.
There sure are, and they are out of range of the Deathborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some outs here. He has that ability to freeze 2 of them right now, or 2 of the 3 minions, because his hero power. Actually, no, I'm sorry. His hero power is not. He already used the frozen hero power. I apologize. You can freeze at least 1 with the construct, with the location there, the Sanctum. He can ping 1 for a little bit more damage with the Arcane Bolt. He can ping another one, and then Deathborn, and gain some minions here, which I think is what he's going to try to do. Not the best play. I mean, not the best option, but I mean, he's still putting some pressure on. WorldEight only has 13 health left. I mean, WorldEight does have the ability to freeze things with his Might of Menethol. How many corpses does he have? 8. So he has some options with the spells in his hands, especially the Pyroblast on a stick there. I forget the name of the lady there. So yeah, there's the Might of Menethol as expected. Glacial Advance right to the dome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quite a bit of damage here, and there's
not even chaining the Glacial Advance with another spell, just using his mana.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting out there.
Just push that
Threatening
damage
right
while
now,
you
right?
can. Yeah. Yeah, threatening WorldEight with the Death Knight, threatening the lethal there. Okay.
It's got to be it has to be Clone of Cold here. I don't think he has any other option. Like that is his ability to continue this game on.
Yeah, I mean, like, the polymorph jellyfish is something that kind of actually is enticing, turning something into a 1 health and being able to ping it down with hero power. But with that many minions on the opponent's side of the board, yeah, you really kind of have to go for that Cone of Cold and try to just stabilize and remove as much of that damage next turn as possible.
Okay, get that damage in with the Frozen Touch. Brings his opponent down to 10. Oh, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sets up for next turn lethal with the... If 3 minions here get cleared off of Potato's board to then set up the Frozen Touch. If the Frozen Touch gets the infused effect again and it can be played twice next turn, it is a lethal. But also there's just damage on board with 5 damage on board. So even just an Egwin and the Frozen Touch dealing 5 damage on its own is also a lethal setup. So this is really kind of a, you know, difficult situation for WorldEight here on this Death Knight of how to kind of go about working on this damage. But that replaying the same spell from that suspicious alchemist,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good choice there.
He had Potato had no choice but to play the Clone from that, but obviously it gave WorldEight the knowledge he needed in order to you know, guess the next one. Oh, flurry right there could be very handy. Can he survive though?
Oh, it's so kind of awkward for Potato here.
He has lethal,
like,
right? No, he has lethal. He has Egwin into Frozen Touch. He is exact lethal.
It's not though. It's not infused.
Oh, right, you're right. 10. He has 10. Yeah.
So unfortunately, it would have to be infused to get the second copy of the Frozen Touch.
No, it won't, because you don't need to infuse on the second Frozen Touch. Egwin is 5. Egwin plus Frozen Touch is 5 into another Frozen Touch. You don't need it infused. You just cast it, hit him in the face. 10. Right? Or am I wrong?
No, the infused is what gives you the copy.
Oh,
so it's
okay,
not infused to get
okay.
the copy. Yeah. So
I thought he had a fused one in hand. All right.
He had played it the previous turn. Was the thing there. Yeah. So that, I mean, unfortunately for Potato, that was just a really awkward situation. He tried to manage that board as much as possible, but the also kind of awkward thing with getting a discovered spell that your opponent has the option to also get a copy of the next turn is if you played that spell, they know exactly what it is. So it was really an awkward situation there, but that does mean that WorldEight is going to take it up 1-0 there. And this, again, is a best of 3. So if WorldEight wins this here with this priest, then that is going to be the series.
All right. Full mulligan for Potato. Oh, and a full mulligan for WorldEight as well. WorldEight Tempo out that Void Touch Tangent. If you're wondering why he would do something like that, it's a pretty solid play. If you're trying to be aggressive, turn 2, if you don't have anything to play, you're just going to run that attendant into his face and hero power, and the mage is going to be down 5 damage right off the bat. Okay, he's playing the Incorporeal Corporeal. He does not have the silence yet. Yeah, so a lot of people think that the combo is what's needed here, but even if you don't have the silence effect, you now have 5 damage for 2 mana, and then you have a 5 damage for 2 mana minion in your death pool. So it's pretty solid.
I mean, the scary thing with having that extra damage potential as well is that just hitting face would have been 6 damage on its own as well. That's a lot of damage to be pushing on turn 3 just with one single minion. But he did top deck and draw into that silence that you were just talking about. So it cleared the board and it didn't die after attacking. So now there is a 5/5 body here that Potato has to deal with. And talking about, silence effects or freeze effects, none of that is available for Potato to answer this 5/5 here.
And I believe I was wrong. I think he had it in his deck. I just misidentified the cards in his deck, so I apologize for that. But yeah, WorldEight wants to just get out here, and this, if you were listening to Bread and Butter today, we were talking about aggro decks. I mean, he is playing this very much like an aggro deck. He just wants to push damage face and keep him off guard. So the Bone Caller right there. I don't think that's too concerning for Potato at this point. He's not looking to necessarily drop two mana off the board. 2 damage off the board. He can keep that there. He wants the Egwin out. Now, Egwin keeps passing the spell damage off to the next minion that it draws. So,
yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised that WorldEight didn't run the Bone Caller into the Egwin just to get another 5/5 minion on board, but instead he keeps it up for protection of his face.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an interesting situation. And again, WorldEight kind of putting Potato in an awkward situation, because now if Potato actually does hit into the taunt to clear it, how does Potato answer the 5/5 that follows up behind it, right? So it is actually a really awkward situation where for Potato, it kind of has to answer both parts of it, or at least attempt to answer both parts of it if he doesn't want to take even more damage. Whereas if WorldEight had just traded in the taunt, it gives a little bit more option for Potato to answer that 5/5 that would have been, you know, ahead of time. It still kind of works out the same because now Potato has to make that trade, but it just creates that potential as well with the other minion on board. If Potato were to answer the Spirit first, then the taunt might have actually revived something else.
And the undead priest really is a different beast than some other decks, because most other decks, you clear your board, you're good. The priest wants you to clear their minions. Please, please kill them for me, because a lot of them just do damage right to your face, and it's not looking good for Potato here. He's got to cast that Cold Case. I mean, he doesn't really have an option. He needs to gain some health. He needs to get to that Astellar turn, and he needs to find some damage quick. But
yeah, it's such a sad spot to see, as you know, somebody who would want to be at least trying to go to that game number 3 in a finals match like this, but just to see your opponent as this priest seeming to have every single answer, every single kind of beat down that they would want from very early on. And Potato really hasn't found, I mean, honestly, the top deck here of that Cold Case that you mentioned, maybe that's enough to stabilize here, but that was an absolute fantastic pickup. Otherwise, he would be dead here already.
No, he's dead anyway on board unless he gets the right spell, because those guys... Oh, there we go. There's the Flurry.
Yeah, Flurry absolutely helps.
He needs the Flurry. He can't trade into that Bone Caller either, because whatever pops out of that Bone Caller is going to... Oh, okay, so he's going to clear the Bone Caller and then clear whatever comes next and freeze it.
Yeah,
so,
freeze it afterwards.
Smart play.
Yeah, I like this then deciding to now just start really getting his own aggression in here as well, pushing all of this damage, because this is at the point now WorldEight, only with that one card in hand plus whatever he's about to draw, really forces WorldEight to have, you know, follow-up answers. Grave Digging to draw more cards. Pretty good follow-up there. Animated Dead with the weapon to start doing a little bit of damage, and still enough mana to use a hero power. Still pushing quite a bit of damage here. But I don't know, Potato might have been able to stabilize.
Yeah, he's got to balance between keeping WorldEight from attacking him as well as getting some damage in. He wants to cast that Astellar to gain the health, but it's not enough. So he's gonna have to probably Night Cloak into Flurry and push some damage face.
And
he's not out of it yet. There's a hope and a prayer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he is out of it, because next turn WorldEight can cast his spell, which will give 1 day. Oh well, no. We'll see.
Yeah, there's enough armor from the Astalor and all of the freezes to at least kind of mitigate what's going on currently on the board. Yeah, there always is that added potential of what damage could be drawn here. A Mind Seer absolutely going to add that bit of damage. The hero power can push 2
Yep.
damage as well. But is the grave digging and a hero power going to be enough? Depends on what spells are drawn here. That weapon is gone, so Undying Allies doesn't do an additional damage. That's huge.
Oh, one hope and a dream.
Oh, yeah.
You can do.
Deathborn feels so awkward here too with the the zombie on board.
So he has 5, 8, 12, 13 damage that he can do. From hand.
Well, the problem is you can't kill off that brittle skin zombie without dealing damage to your own face here as Potato Cat, unfortunately.
Well, the question is, what happens in a tie? But no,
Yeah.
well, congratulations to WorldEight, who is victorious 2-0. You can see the frustration in Potato's face there, as he knows he's like all season to end like this, not like this, not like this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
two very well played matches by two very aggressive players.
Yeah, that was a little rough. That was a little rough. We're gonna see here if we can get these players into a quick little like post interview, post game interview here, and see if they're up for it. And we'll get them in. Let's see. Okay. Hopefully
All
they
right, looks
should be
like
able to join in.
both our competitors are going to join in.
Perfect. All right. Hello.
Gentlemen, can you hear us?
Hello.
Potato.
Yes. Perfect.
Well played to both of you. Rough, very aggressive matchup. Everyone bringing in some kind of aggro.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah, it's considering we started late and it's already 11. It's only 11:46 Eastern. We definitely got those games in pretty quickly. Thank you for helping us catch up on time. But Potato, what were your thoughts there? You were kind of put up against it right off the bat, and in both games you kind of had to struggle to try to not execute your game plan but survive so you could try to get there. What did you think of the matchups?
Oh yeah. I was kind of expecting it in that Demon Hunter one. I know that one's kind of unfavored from my side, but it's hard to get Construct Quarter against that. That was a close game though. And then the Shadow one, that just felt crazy. Like right out of the gate. I forget how powerful that deck is.
Yeah, and you made some really good choices with the Cone of Cold, but unfortunately he knew what you were playing there,
Yeah, that
and
was the
you did a good.
downside to that. It's
Um,
unfortunate.
but yeah, the unholy priest is a very aggressive matchup. WorldEight, how about yourself? What were you thinking of those matchups? Can you hear us, Mr. 8? I don't know if you can hear us.
I don't know. Not seeing anything go through on voice if he's
Well,
talking, maybe muted or something. Discord, likes to be like, hey, your mic or your camera's in use somewhere else, and then decides to not let you talk.
Yeah, well, we're experiencing some technical difficulties talking to WorldEight, but um, great matchup, guys. Tough fight. It is tough to get here through the season. So, Potato, even though you came up on the short end tonight, is an accomplishment to even just get to this this place. So congratulations on a well fought season, and I look forward to seeing you next season. Hopefully, on the losing end of my matchups.
Yeah, thank you.
But appreciate you guys agreeing to do this. This has been a lot of fun. I'm hoping maybe next year or maybe one of these seasons they can do best of 5 instead of best of 3. Because I think the finals really it's not the format for the whole season, but I think the finals merits a little extra chance, because that's one of the interesting things about the Coin Concede listener series is the 3 matchups. It really doesn't give you an opportunity to recover if you've had a rough start. It's like once you've had a rough start, you have one more game and that's it, and that's super challenging.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I didn't even get to play either of my other 2 lists. I was just playing the mage.
Now, had you
Yeah.
considered switching to your other lists before for the second game, or did you just figure you want to get that win with the mage before you went on?
I just wanted to try and get the mage off. To be honest, this mage list was just like a last minute ad. I didn't know what to do for this third deck, and so I picked something that I was hoping WorldEight would cancel, but he got the better of me there, and then I ended up losing both of them with that one. But
Now, what was the deck he banned?
he banned Mind Warlock, which
Okay,
was
Can you guys hear me now?
okay.
Yeah.
We had a slight snafu between the deck lists at the beginning, so I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, the Mind Lock is a really strong deck because you just hold off your opponent and then you do your thing. There's not a lot they can do about it.
Yeah, there you go. I think
Can you guys
we've
hear me
got
or no?
yes.
Hey,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
we got WorldEight
WorldEight,
there.
how are you?
Good. I was confused as to what there's 2 things going on here. I'm good. So good games, potato, both. Kind of got double construction quarter. Holy cow! Like that is unreasonable to deal with. So I mean, it was a good game, and then I did not want to be facing aggro mage going in with the priest. I don't know if you'll see on the replay, but I had no undead in my starting hand, and then I pulled a shadow spirit off the top, followed by the corporal and the whispers play. So like my starting hand was awful. Got pretty lucky with those top 2.
Well, that deck is not refined, but it has a. I mean, once it gets going, it is hard to recover from because you want them to clear your minions. Like you're like, please kill things. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, like I went on curve is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just all the damage is hard to come back from. If you'll see on the replay, I was just top decking out of my mind, but I was too far behind at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean you really need the freezes online, and the other part with that matchup is you can freeze the guys, but if there's 2 out there, it makes it really difficult to not get hit for 4 a turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to interrupt too much, but I think Potato, you were undefeated coming into the finals, right?
Undefeated.
Like I don't think you dropped a game or something, right?
No,
Anyway.
I was 3-2. I came out
okay.
barely. Yeah.
Oh, that was the other. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there was a different
guy. But yeah, it was I had pretty strong starts, and with aggro matchups, if you're once you get behind, you lose board. It's really hard to come back if you don't have that big wipe, like that one Deathborn. Almost got it back, but then I had to freeze, and so it was back and forth on the exchanges, and it's kind of like was the last swing back. I was pretty lucky in that second match to get the last swing back, as it were.
Well, it's really interesting because before this matchup, we did a live podcast for our bread and butter show, and we were just talking about these exact things where you may be aggro, but you might have to play as the beatdown or maybe not the beatdown, depending on your matchups, and you could definitely see those shifts happen in this game where even though Potato was a aggressive matchup, a aggro lineup, he had to start playing more defensively than anything. Otherwise, he would have just got steamrolled. So it was almost you illustrated our points perfectly, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I nerd out a little bit because I'm an old school Magic player, and it's funny because we talk about Hearthstone a lot. All these concepts are covered like 20 years ago in like
Yeah.
Magic strategy articles, things like that. And like the Who's the Beatdown article is 25 years old, right? Like that's a old article, and then they refined it 5 years later. I mean, Hearthstone's been around for how long? Like anyway, it's Who's the Beatdown is kind of an outdated concept actually. It could be both. You could control and beat down. Like that's what Big Beast Hunter did a lot, and that's why that deck was really good. I was very fortunate that I got put in that position where I could, Shadow Warner on death, so keep the pressure on, keep the control on, things like that. Just happened to be lucky there. But I think the lines were really interesting. I was surprised the potato banned my Frost Mage. I thought that was the weakest of the three decks. I don't know if he had, I banned his Warlock because I know he knows his Warlock. I saw that in his list like almost every week going back. I'm like, this guy knows how to play this deck. He can OTK me with 3 minions. This guy knows how to do that. I'm not letting him OTK me with 3 minions.
And when I saw that band, I was upset. I was like, because that's totally my deck.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, not playing that one.
Well, that's what happens when you play in these 3-game series. Is your opponent will almost inevitably ban the deck you spent the most time working on during the week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a strategy as well. That just means that players are doing their homework too, right? And checking on what these opponents have brought over the multiple weeks or what maybe their pet decks are. I mean, if you hear somebody like Wicked Good, you're probably going to make sure you ban his priest, right? Same concept here. So I think the strategy paid off pretty well. But yeah, it is kind of a bummer sometimes when you don't get to play the deck that you really wanted to play. And man, even though you had some incredible top decks, that mage was just not keeping up for you in the series, which was a little heartbreaking to see. But you both, like the second game, I think especially, both of you were top decking just like out of your freaking minds. Like it was just like top deck, the perfect thing. And then on the other side, top deck, I was like, oh my god, this is just like, if he didn't top deck that, he'd be dead here. Okay, wow, he top decked that, now cleared the board. Like it was just amazing that second game.
And you guys didn't, like, I am fairly new to casting. This is kind of a new thing I'm getting into. And you guys made it very difficult by playing extremely quickly. So I had to keep up. And, I think we did an okay job. But it was like, oh, now he's like, let's analyze this for a second. Wait, never mind. They're going. And in chat, Pilot said when he played you and he hard targeted your Mindlock Potato and still lost.
Oh, do you remember? You wouldn't remember what his decks were, would you? I forgot when that was. No.
I was thinking of doing
I don't
that,
know.
and I was like, no, I think he's too good for me to target it.
The top 8? Let's see. Pilot had Death Knight, Paladin, Priest, and Potato had Death Knight, Shaman, Warlock.
That was the game I faced off against his Paladin and got shenanigans with like Explosive Sheep, Shallow Grave, Devour, and got a 12 damage board clear. Sheep times 6. That was the grossest thing I've ever done with that deck, I think.
So I didn't let him play that deck?
And it's turned out to be, right? Well, WorldEight, congratulations on your CCLS victory. Look forward to playing you next season, and everybody. And anyway, I think that's about it. Thank you, gentlemen, for spending the time with us.
Yep. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you both so much for your patience with all of these issues and the servers going down, and then us
for once,
all of a
not
sudden
our
being...
issues.
I know, and then I was behind because then it's like, oh, okay, well, I totally should have, taken the dogs out while we were waiting, and then they were crying. So thank you for your patience there, but it was great.
I told Dawn, I'm like, go ahead and get things done. Get ready just in case. She's like, nah, the server's not coming back up, and then it came back up.
I know. The one time I'm like, nah, they're not gonna get it fixed. And then they did, like 2 minutes before Tito's timer. It was like, oh, okay. All right, then.
So, if you are in chat right now, please hit that follow button. We have another match fight night set up. This was kind of an impromptu one that we just, our two boys here, Potato and WorldEight, were set up for the Coin Conceit Listener Series. And I said, hey, do you mind if I cast it? And they said, sure. And then, of course, we make it bigger than it needs to be. But I think this is a lot of fun. So I'm glad they were agreeable to this. But on March 19th, 10 p.m., right here, it's a Sunday, we have Blister Guy versus Just a Guy in our fight night. That's going to be coming up. Two outstanding gentlemen. I can't wait to see what they bring. Dawn, anything you'd like to plug tonight before we run out?
I don't just I don't know. I just want to say thank you again to these gentlemen for working with us and letting us cast this. And you know, hopefully, if I don't know if either of you do any sort of like content or anything, but at least if you're around in Discords, hopefully people will see you and at least say GG's for the games tonight. And thank you so much for letting us cast.
Yeah, thanks for casting.
Thank you. I think that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. I appreciate everyone that came and hung out. And again, thank you, Wicked, for the raid earlier. Thank you for everyone that stayed for the podcast. We'll see you soon. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.